Low again. Although over 80% of the people in Britain are white, they scarcely seem to feature at all in the more bizarre news stories which crop up, especially those which involve horrific violence or dreadful depravity. We all of us know this, but many choose to ignore the reality or to trot out unthinkingly, like trained dogs, the official line, which is, of course, that vicious crimes are not restricted to any one ethnicity. Well, of course, they're not restricted to any single ethnic group. There have always been dangerously mad white people in this country, such as Jack the Ripper. What we are talking about here is the proportion of such things in which we see that people with dark skins have carried out this or that atrocity or incomprehensible action, rather than those of white British ancestry or heritage. In other words, the kind of thing which is extraordinarily rare for white British people does rather seem to be pretty much par for the course for certain other ethnicities. So we observe that random stabbing sprees are all but unheard of among white British people, and all such cases involve men with dark skin. Throwing inflammable liquid over people and setting them on fire is a very rare crime, as is the deliberate throwing of acid and caustic soda at people. One or two such cases may well be attributed to people of white British ancestry, but the overwhelmingly vast majority are not. The more peculiar the crime, the more likely it is that dark-skinned people will be found to be the perpetrators. I advance no hypothesis as to why this should be the case, but that it is so is undeniable. I wonder how many viewers remember the old science fiction film Invasion of the Body Snatchers, first made in the 50s and then famously remade in 1978. This was the first iteration in cinema of a theme which has recurred a number of times since then. People who appear to be just like us and whom we expect to have the same desires and motivations as we have turn out to be aliens with an unknown agenda whose intentions are quite unknown. They look like us, but they are not. This is how many of us feel about that fifth of the British population who have skins which are a lot darker than the average Anglo-Saxon. They certainly look very similar to us in that they have the same number of arms and legs as we do, 10 fingers and toes, a couple of eyes, and so on. But they do rather appear to be different in some indefinable fashion. This difference manifests itself in various ways, none of them beneficial to the long established and generally peaceful society in which they live. Their influence seems to be baleful, for they don't like our world. They want to change everything about the country and grow angry and sometimes violent if their wishes are thwarted. Whether through fear or because they wish to curry favour with the invaders, quite a few people go along with the plans of those who have arrived in this way and champion their cause for them. They claim that they are too disgusted with our society because of racism or Islamophobia, or whatever it is that the newcomers are complaining about. These collaborators then help the newcomers to set to work to dismantle the long-standing institutions of the country to accommodate the wishes of those who look like us but are not. Everything must be redesigned according to the wishes of the arriving people with dark skins. This, in a nutshell, is how an awful lot of people see the present situation in our country, but they fear that if they speak out and say how they really feel about things, they will be ostracized, cancelled, lose their jobs, and become social pariahs. For this reason, they remain quiet and they only speak the truth in private, where there are no eavesdroppers, and they usually lean towards each other and lower their voices when they do admit they really think. For a country which gave birth to the idea of free speech. This really is a shocking state of affairs.